Tonight, then, we are praying with the feeding of the 5,000. As you settle into this prayer, you might just be intentional about where you sit and how you sit. Maybe your eyes are closed or you're focusing softly on something. Do what works for you. And settle in. As you sit, you might notice whether you are feeling a little peckish yourself, a little hungry, or whether you are well fed, having eaten. Just notice the status of your own stomach. And we know that our God wants us to be fed. What else are you noticing in your body? How are you in your body just now? And if there are aches and pains or any tension, let God know. You might breathe that into God. And just as you are in your body, in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit, just as you are, let God look at you or be with you with love. What do you want from God in this prayer? It might be to see Jesus doing his thing. What do you want? And let God know. And let's remind ourselves of this story. Jesus went off to the other side of the Sea of Galilee, and a large crowd followed him, impressed by the signs he gave by curing the sick. Jesus climbed the hillside and sat down there with his disciples. It was shortly before the Jewish feast of Passover. Looking up, Jesus saw the crowds approaching and said to Philip, "Where can we buy some bread for these people to eat?" He only said this to test Philip. He himself knew exactly what he was going to do. Philip answered, 200 denarii would only buy enough to give them a small piece each. One of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said, "There is a small boy here with 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. But what is that between so many?" Jesus said to them, "Make the people sit down." There was plenty of grass there, and as many as 5,000 sat down. Then Jesus took the loaves, gave thanks, and gave them out to all who were sitting ready. He then did the same with the fish, giving out as much as was wanted. Without trying too hard and letting our imaginations work with whatever comes, we begin to see something of this scene near the lake. Jesus with his disciples, a large crowd on its way. Jesus on the hillside. Where are you in this scene? And from your perspective, maybe as someone in the crowd, one of the disciples, yourself as a disciple, from your perspective, look around you, see the lake, and the countryside around it, the vegetation, the ground you're standing on. We're told there is grass there. Feel the heat of the sun on your face. Smell the air. Hear any sounds of birds, insects, breeze, water, and a gathering crowd. And notice the disciples seeing this crowd arrive. And look at Jesus looking at them. And as you look at them yourself, are there people you recognize? Are there, in fact, market traders with their food to sell? If so, where do they place themselves? You observe as people come, gather. How is Jesus receiving them? Is he speaking to some or just observing for now? And watch Jesus as he forms his plan. He knows what he's going to do. What's his intention here? What is he wanting to show them? And he speaks to Philip. And see if you can notice something in the tone of Jesus. Where can we buy some bread for these people to eat? How does he say this? Philip, taking him rather literally, explains how much it would cost to give them all a little piece of something. More than half a year's work wouldn't pay for it. And locate off to the side, perhaps, the important small boy with his 5 barley loaves, the bread eaten by the poor, and his 2 fish. Find him and look at him with his goods. Why is he there? And Andrew tells Jesus, "There is a small boy here with 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. What is that between so many?" And you watch Jesus organize everyone, make the people sit down. There's plenty of grass there. Maybe you are involved in organizing the crowd too. So watch all of that taking place. Be involved if you're inclined to be. So it seems the crowd are being prepared to see something, hear something. What's their expectation? And while they're settling, back to the little boy. How old does he look? Is there an interaction between him and Jesus? Does Jesus speak to him? And then watch Jesus as he takes the loaves into his hands, raises them, and gives thanks to God. Watch the crowd watching him. He breaks the bread, and through the disciples, perhaps you're involved here too. He sends the fragments out to the crowd. The crowd see this beginning. Similarly with the fish, What is he doing? Are some people in the crowd getting it? And look through the crowd. Notice those members of it who have come prepared, who have brought something that they were going to eat themselves with their family. What are they doing with their food? What's happening? And if there are market traders with their largesse intended for sale, seeing this parable of sharing, what do they do? And notice what happens for those who have brought nothing. Is anything else happening? How is this bread and fish being multiplied through the crowd? Where are you as you watch and listen to everyone eating enough? What's the atmosphere? The sounds you can hear? What are the children doing? And find Jesus and watch him looking at them, beholding this scene. consider how God is also looking at this scene and Jesus in it. How does this make God feel? You yourself take hold of some of the bread, some of the fish, if you like. And if you can, why not take some of it to Jesus? Take it back to him. And you might sit with him or stand, looking at everyone together. And smell the bread. And taste it. The remembrance of a prayer Jesus taught you. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth. Give us this day our daily bread. In the final moments, how are you wanting to multiply more days like this? Speak to him about that. And by all means, continue that conversation later. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread.